There's a moment in life when you start questioning the people around you, wondering if everyone in your circle truly has your best interests at heart. That uneasy feeling in your gut, the tension that builds when you're around certain individuals, the strange energy you sense but can't quite explain, all of these are subtle warnings. You may not have the words to describe it, but you know something isn't right. That feeling, that deep sense of unease, is your internal compass trying to guide you. It's trying to tell you that not everyone who smiles at you is your friend, and not everyone who offers help has pure intentions. Life has taught many of us hard lessons about trust and betrayal. Sometimes the most dangerous people are not the obvious ones, but the ones standing right beside you, hiding their true nature behind a carefully constructed mask. They charm you, manipulate you, and use you, all while pretending to be supportive and loving. But behind their sweet words and friendly gestures, their hearts carry envy, deceit, and malice. It's these individuals who can slowly drain your energy, crush your spirit, and leave you questioning your self-worth. They hide their intentions so well that by the time you realize their true nature, the damage is already done. But here's the good news. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to walk blindly into the traps set by those with dark intentions. You have the power to recognize these individuals for who they are. And once you do, you can protect yourself, reclaim your peace of mind, and remove their toxic influence from your life. The philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless wisdom to help you identify such people. It teaches you to rely not on emotions, but on reason and observation to see through the facade of deceit. Through Stoicism, you can develop the clarity to spot the signs of manipulation and malice, allowing you to act swiftly and decisively. It's not easy to accept that someone close to you might have harmful intentions. It's even harder to confront the reality that their actions, whether subtle or obvious, have been tearing you down. Perhaps it's a friend who constantly undermines your success with backhanded compliments, or a family member who uses guilt and manipulation to control your decisions. Maybe it's a colleague who seems helpful on the surface, but is quietly plotting your downfall. Whatever the case, recognizing these patterns is the first step to freeing yourself from their grip. You've likely encountered someone in your life who left you feeling drained, confused, or unsettled after every interaction. These aren't mere coincidences or misunderstandings. The energy you feel is real, and it's often the clearest signal that something is wrong. The Stoics believed that peace of mind is one of the greatest virtues, and protecting it is essential. When someone disrupts that peace, it's a sign that their intentions may not align with your well-being. One of the most important lessons Stoicism teaches us is to focus on what we can control. You can't change other people, but you can change how you respond to them. You can't force someone to act with kindness or integrity, but you can protect yourself from their negativity and toxic influence. When you develop the ability to observe people's actions with a calm, rational mindset, you'll begin to see patterns of behavior that reveal their true character. This clarity is your shield. It allows you to step back, assess the situation, and act in a way that preserves your inner peace. You don't need to confront these people with anger or frustration. In fact, that's exactly what they want. They thrive on chaos and emotional reactions because it gives them power over you. Instead, Stoicism teaches you to remain composed, to not give them the satisfaction of controlling your emotions. When you rise above their tactics, you take away their power. You show them that their games won't work on you, and in doing so, you regain control over your life. It's painful to admit that someone you care about might be hurting you, intentionally or not. But the truth is, some people are driven by envy, bitterness, and a desire to see others fail. They hide behind smiles, but their words and actions slowly chip away at your confidence and happiness. The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from within, and no external force should be allowed to take that away from you. This is why it's so important to recognize the signs early and act before they cause lasting damage. Sometimes the hardest part is letting go. We hold on to toxic relationships because we hope the person will change or because we fear the loneliness that might follow. But Stoicism teaches that holding on to negativity only keeps you trapped in suffering. It's better to walk away and find peace than to stay and endure pain. When you learn to detach from people who harm your well-being, you make space for healthier relationships, ones built on respect, kindness, and mutual support. There's an old saying that goes, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them." This is at the heart of Stoic wisdom. People can hide their true selves for only so long before their actions give them away. Pay attention to how they make you feel, to the energy they bring into your life, and to the small signs that reveal their real intentions. If you constantly feel uneasy or drained after being around someone, it's time to listen to that inner voice. It's time to take action. The Stoics remind us that life is too short to be spent in the company of those who wish us harm. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who encourage your growth, and who bring peace into your life. If someone does the opposite, if they bring conflict, stress, and negativity, then it's time to distance yourself. This is not an act of cruelty, but an act of self-preservation. Your peace of mind is sacred, and it's worth protecting. In the end, it's about recognizing your own worth. You deserve to be surrounded by people who support your journey, not those who secretly root for your failure. You deserve relationships built on honesty and integrity, not manipulation and deceit. Once you start applying the wisdom of Stoicism to your relationships, you'll be able to see clearly who belongs in your life and who doesn't. This journey isn't easy, and it might require difficult decisions, but in the long run, you'll find freedom. Freedom from the toxic energy that weighs you down, freedom from the manipulation that clouds your mind, and freedom from the emotional burden of trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. You have the strength within you to protect your peace, to remove harmful influences, and to live a life grounded in wisdom and clarity. The signs are there. All you have to do is open your eyes, trust your instincts, and take action. Your future self will thank you for it. When faced with dishonesty, there's often a subtle tension in the air. Words don't match actions, and promises feel empty. You can sense it, even if you can't fully articulate what's wrong. There's a quiet discomfort in dealing with someone who isn't truthful, but their charm or seemingly harmless nature keeps you second-guessing. These deceptive individuals are skilled at masking their true intentions, but with the right awareness, you can uncover the layers of deceit hidden beneath their smooth words and pleasant demeanor. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom that sharpens your ability to detect dishonesty, helping you guard against those who seek to manipulate and deceive. Stoicism teaches that you must rely not on emotions, but on careful observation and rational thinking. In a world full of distractions and misleading appearances, clarity of mind becomes your most powerful tool. When someone is dishonest, they often give themselves away in small, seemingly insignificant ways. It's not just about what they say, but how they say it. The inconsistencies in their stories, the slight hesitation before a response, the eagerness to reassure you with words rather than actions. Recognizing these subtle cues requires patience, but once you see them, they become unmistakable. Dishonest people rely on others to overlook these signs. They depend on your kindness, your desire to avoid conflict, and your tendency to give them the benefit of the doubt. But the Stoic mindset urges you to observe without bias, to take in the facts as they are, not as you wish them to be. A person's true nature reveals itself through their repeated behavior, no matter how hard they try to conceal it. Words can be manipulated, but actions speak louder. If their actions don't match their words, the truth is often found in what they do, not what they say. One of the key insights from Stoicism is the importance of consistency. A person who is truthful and reliable will demonstrate consistency across their words and actions. When someone is being deceptive, that consistency falls apart. One moment they promise loyalty, but in the next, their actions betray that promise. They tell one person one thing and another person something completely different, hoping no one notices the contradictions. But someone grounded in Stoic wisdom won't be easily fooled by smooth words or empty promises. Instead, they focus on patterns, watching for those moments when the mask slips, even briefly. A Stoic learns to detach from the emotional pull of charm and charisma. These are often the tools of a deceiver. They use charm to distract you, to make you feel special or important, all while hiding their true motives. But charm is superficial. It fades when you start paying attention to the deeper truth. Stoic wisdom helps you see beyond the surface, allowing you to focus on what truly matters, the integrity of a person's character. And when that integrity is lacking, no amount of charm can cover it up. In addition to inconsistencies and charm, dishonest people often rely on others not questioning their words. They create a false sense of urgency or pressure, making you feel like there's no time to think things through. This tactic is designed to prevent you from reflecting on the situation, to stop you from seeing the gaps in their story. But the Stoic approach encourages you to slow down, to pause and think before reacting. This pause gives you the space to observe carefully, to ask the right questions, and to notice when something doesn't quite add up. Dishonesty often comes with excuses and justifications. A person who deceives will always have a reason for why they acted the way they did, why they couldn't follow through on a promise, why they misled you about a situation, or why they failed to keep their word. They'll be quick to point the finger elsewhere, to blame circumstances or other people, never taking full responsibility for their actions. But Stoicism teaches the importance of personal accountability. A person of integrity owns their mistakes and works to correct them, while a dishonest person deflects blame to avoid being caught. You can often recognize a dishonest person by their discomfort with the truth. They avoid direct questions, change the subject, or become defensive when pressed for details. Their discomfort is a red flag, a sign that they are hiding something. A Stoic, however, remains calm and composed, pressing on with clarity and patience. By asking direct, thoughtful questions and observing how they respond, you can often uncover the truth hidden behind their defensive walls. Their inability to handle the truth with calmness is a clear indicator that their intentions are not as pure as they want you to believe. Furthermore, dishonesty thrives on confusion. Deceptive individuals create complex stories or exaggerated details to make it difficult for you to see the truth clearly. They weave a web of half-truths and vague explanations, hoping to overwhelm you with so much information that you stop questioning them. But Stoicism teaches the value of simplicity and clarity. When faced with such confusion, strip away the unnecessary details and focus on the core of the matter. Often, the truth is simple, while lies are tangled and convoluted. By cutting through the noise and focusing on the essentials, you can expose the deception for what it is. Another common trait of deceptive behavior is the tendency to project. Dishonest individuals often accuse others of the very behaviors they are guilty of. They may accuse you of being dishonest or untrustworthy, trying to shift the focus away from their own actions. This projection is a psychological defense mechanism, but to a Stoic, it's another clue. When someone projects their own flaws onto others, it's often because they're trying to deflect attention away from their own behavior. Recognizing this projection allows you to see through their manipulation and stay focused on the truth. Deceptive individuals also tend to have shifting loyalties. They align themselves with whoever can benefit them at the moment, often switching sides when it suits their needs. They may pretend to be your closest ally one day and then betray you the next, if it means advancing their own agenda. Stoic wisdom teaches the importance of loyalty and integrity. A person who is loyal remains consistent in their support, even when it's inconvenient or challenging. When someone's loyalty wavers with the changing winds, it's a sign that they may not be trustworthy. Pay attention to those who only show up when they need something from you. The Stoic practice of mindfulness also plays a crucial role in identifying dishonesty. Being fully present in your interactions with others allows you to pick up on the subtle cues that might otherwise go unnoticed. A quick glance away, a nervous laugh, a change in tone. These are small, often unconscious signals that reveal more than words ever could. The more mindful and present you are, the more attuned you become to these signs. Stoicism teaches that awareness is key, not just of your own emotions, but of the behavior of those around you. This heightened awareness helps you see through the deceptions that others try to hide. Lastly, Stoicism reminds us that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply someone tries to bury it. Lies require constant maintenance, and eventually they crumble under the weight of their own complexity. A Stoic, who remains calm and observant, knows that time is often the greatest ally in uncovering deception. By being patient and waiting for the truth to reveal itself, you protect yourself from being manipulated or led astray. You don't need to rush to expose a lie, just stay alert and let the truth rise to the surface. Dishonesty, while damaging, can be defeated with the clear and rational approach that Stoicism offers. When you remain grounded in truth, observant of actions over words, and patient in seeking clarity, deception loses its power over you. And once you recognize these signs, you'll be better equipped to protect yourself from the harmful influence of those who would seek to deceive you for their own gain. After recognizing deception, the next step in protecting yourself from harmful individuals is learning how to spot malicious intent. While dishonesty may come in the form of lies and manipulation, malicious intent is more insidious, often buried deep under layers of charm, kindness, or helpfulness. The motives behind a person's actions are what ultimately determine whether they are acting in good faith or if they are driven by darker, selfish desires. Stoicism offers a powerful lens through which we can detect these hidden motives, helping us guard against those who may seek to use us for their own gain. By cultivating a calm and focused mind, we can see beyond the surface and understand what truly drives the people around us. When someone harbors malicious intent, they rarely show their hand immediately. These individuals often appear harmless or even benevolent at first, but their actions, over time, reveal a different story. They may manipulate others to achieve their own goals, create conflict to divert attention from their schemes, or subtly undermine those they envy. But no matter how well they disguise their intentions, Stoicism equips us with the tools to remain vigilant, detached, and observant, allowing us to sense their true motives before it's too late. One of the clearest signs of malicious intent is the way someone treats people when they think no one is watching. Malicious individuals often wear a mask of politeness and helpfulness when they are in the spotlight, but their true nature comes out in private moments. They may belittle or exploit those who they believe are powerless or who they think can't harm their reputation. Stoicism teaches us to observe people carefully, not just when they are trying to impress, but when they have nothing to gain. This is when their true character emerges. A person with good intentions will treat others with respect, regardless of who is watching. But someone with malicious motives will reveal their darker side when they feel safe from scrutiny. Another way to detect hidden motives is to pay attention to how a person reacts when their plans are disrupted. Someone with malicious intent often becomes irritable or even angry when things don't go their way. They may lash out, blame others, or attempt to manipulate the situation to regain control. Stoicism teaches us that true character is revealed in times of difficulty and stress. A person who acts with integrity will remain calm and composed when faced with challenges, while someone driven by selfish motives will struggle to maintain their facade. When their control over a situation slips, their true intentions become clear. This is when you need to pay attention, not to their words, but to their actions. Those with hidden motives often rely on emotional manipulation to achieve their goals. They may use guilt, fear, or flattery to sway your decisions or to keep you off balance. Emotional manipulation is a key weapon for those with malicious intent because it allows them to control others without ever revealing their true intentions. They create a sense of obligation, making you feel as though you owe them something or that you're responsible for their happiness. Stoicism teaches us to guard against these emotional traps by remaining calm and detached. When someone tries to manipulate you emotionally, step back and assess the situation from a rational perspective. Ask yourself whether their requests or demands are reasonable. Are they trying to make you feel guilty for something beyond your control? Are they appealing to your fear or insecurity? By keeping your emotions in check, you can see through their manipulation and regain control of the situation. Another sign of hidden motives is when someone tries to rush you into making decisions. Malicious individuals often create a sense of urgency or pressure, making it seem as though you need to act quickly without thinking things through. This tactic is designed to prevent you from reflecting on the situation, allowing them to push their agenda without giving you time to see the red flags. Stoicism teaches the value of patience and deliberate action. When you feel pressured to make a decision, resist the urge to act hastily. Take a step back and give yourself time to think. A person with good intentions will respect your need for time and space, while someone with hidden motives will try to rush you into acting before you're ready. The more time you take to assess the situation, the more likely you are to see through their manipulation. Those with malicious intent are also skilled at playing the victim. They twist situations to make it seem as though they've been wronged or unfairly treated, all in an effort to gain sympathy and avoid accountability. By casting themselves as the victim, they manipulate your empathy, making you more likely to excuse their behavior or overlook their faults. Stoicism teaches us to remain focused on facts rather than emotional appeals. Look at the situation objectively. Are they constantly blaming others for their problems? Do they refuse to take responsibility for their actions? When someone is always the victim in their own story, it's often a sign that they are using their victimhood as a tool to manipulate others and avoid accountability. True accountability involves taking responsibility for one's actions, not deflecting blame onto others. Inconsistency in behavior is another red flag. Someone with malicious intent will often act one way in public and another in private. They may be overly charming and friendly when others are around, but cold or manipulative behind closed doors. Or they might act supportive toward those in power while undermining those they see as less important. Stoicism teaches us to value consistency and integrity. A person of good character will act with the same level of respect and kindness regardless of who is watching. But someone with hidden motives will shift their behavior depending on what they think they can gain. Pay attention to these inconsistencies. They often reveal a person's true intentions more clearly than their words ever could. Projection is another common tactic of those with malicious motives. They will often accuse others of the very behaviors they are guilty of. For example, they may accuse you of being dishonest or manipulative when, in reality, they are the ones engaging in those behaviors. This projection is a way to deflect attention from their own actions and make you doubt yourself. Stoicism teaches us to remain confident in our own integrity and to not be swayed by the accusations of others. When someone projects their own flaws onto you, it's a sign that they are trying to shift the focus away from their own behavior. Stay calm, trust in your own character, and don't let their accusations cloud your judgment. Creating confusion is another tactic used by those with hidden motives. They may give you mixed signals, vague explanations, or contradictory stories, all designed to keep you off balance. By creating confusion, they make it harder for you to see their true agenda. Stoicism teaches us to seek clarity and simplicity in all things. When faced with confusion, focus on the facts and strip away the unnecessary details. Often, the truth is simple, while lies are tangled and complex. By cutting through the confusion and focusing on what's really happening, you can expose the hidden motives behind their actions. A person with malicious intent may also try to isolate you from others, especially those who might see through their behavior. They may subtly criticize your friends or family, making you question their loyalty or intentions. Over time, they work to create distance between you and those who care about you, leaving you more dependent on them. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining strong, supportive relationships. Don't allow anyone to come between you and the people who have your best interests at heart. If someone is trying to isolate you, it's often a sign that they are trying to gain more control over you by cutting off your support system. Hidden motives also reveal themselves in how someone reacts to your success. A person with malicious intent may pretend to be happy for you, but deep down, they feel threatened by your achievements. They may subtly undermine your accomplishments, downplay your successes, or even try to take credit for your hard work. Stoicism teaches us to remain grounded in our own self-worth and not seek validation from others. When someone is unable to genuinely celebrate your success, it's a sign that they are more interested in maintaining control or superiority than in supporting you. True friends and allies will celebrate your victories without feeling threatened by them. Another way to detect malicious intent is to observe how someone responds to your boundaries. A person with hidden motives will often test your boundaries, pushing against them to see how much control they can exert. They may start with small requests or favors, but over time, their demands escalate. If you assert your boundaries, they may respond with guilt-tripping, anger, or manipulation. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining clear boundaries and not allowing others to violate them. When someone reacts negatively to your boundaries, it's a clear sign that their intentions are not in alignment with your well-being. People with hidden motives also tend to have shifting loyalties. They may align themselves with whoever can offer them the most advantage at the moment, switching sides when it suits their needs. They might pretend to be your closest ally one day and then betray you the next, if it means advancing their own agenda. Stoicism teaches us to value loyalty and integrity. A person who is truly loyal remains consistent in their support, even when it's inconvenient or challenging. If someone's loyalty wavers with the changing circumstances, it's a sign that they may not be trustworthy. Stoicism also teaches us to trust our intuition, but to balance it with reason. Sometimes you may feel uneasy around someone without being able to pinpoint why. This discomfort is often your subconscious picking up on subtle cues that something isn't right. While Stoicism values rational thought, it also reminds us not to ignore our inner signals. When combined with careful observation and logical assessment, your intuition can be a valuable tool in identifying hidden motives. If you consistently feel anxious, manipulated, or off balance around someone, it's worth taking a closer look at their behavior and intentions. Malicious intent is rarely obvious. It operates in the shadows, subtly chipping away at your trust, confidence, and peace of mind. But with the clarity and wisdom that Stoicism offers, you can detect these hidden motives before they cause serious harm. By observing behavior, remaining emotionally detached, and focusing on facts over feelings, you can protect yourself from those who seek to manipulate or undermine you. At the heart of Stoicism is the belief that you have control over your own actions and responses, not over the actions of others. By living in alignment with virtue and integrity, you can navigate the complexities of human relationships with a clear mind and a strong heart, ensuring that malicious individuals have no power over your life. Manipulation often hides behind a veil of concern or care, making it hard to detect at first. It slips into your life subtly, dressed as advice, help, or even love. But beneath that surface lies control, someone pulling your strings, using your emotions to bend you to their will. This emotional control isn't always blatant. It can feel like a guiding hand, gently steering you toward decisions that may seem in your best interest. Yet, the truth is far more insidious. Manipulation is about power, and the Stoic philosophy provides the clarity needed to break free from this invisible grip. To detect manipulation, you must first understand that manipulators rely on emotional responses. They create scenarios that provoke feelings of guilt, fear, or obligation, making you feel like you must act in a certain way to avoid discomfort. The Stoic approach, grounded in the mastery of emotions, allows you to step back and observe these tactics without being swept up by them. When faced with a situation where you feel pressured or uneasy, the first step is to pause. By pausing, you create the space needed to evaluate the situation with clarity. Ask yourself, why am I being made to feel this way? Is there genuine concern behind these emotions, or is there an agenda at play? Manipulators often use guilt as a tool. They position themselves as victims, making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. This can be seen when someone constantly reminds you of all the things they've done for you, subtly suggesting that you owe them something in return. Stoicism teaches us that we are not responsible for the emotions or well-being of others. Each person is in control of their own reactions, and it is neither fair nor just for someone to shift that burden onto you. When you recognize guilt being used as a tool for control, step back and remind yourself that your actions should be driven by virtue, not by the manipulative demands of others. Another common tactic is playing on your fears. Manipulators will often highlight worst-case scenarios to keep you compliant. They may suggest that if you don't follow their advice or do what they want, terrible consequences will follow. This creates a sense of fear that paralyzes you from making decisions based on your own judgment. Stoicism, however, teaches that fear is an illusion. The Stoics believed that fear is often a product of the mind, a projection of things that haven't even happened yet. By confronting fear with reason, you can dismantle its hold on you. Ask yourself, are these threats real, or are they exaggerated to keep me in line? By addressing fear with logic, you begin to see through the manipulative tactics and regain your sense of control. Manipulators also use flattery to make you feel special, creating a sense of loyalty or dependence on their validation. They shower you with praise, making you believe that only they see your true worth. But this flattery comes with strings attached. Once you become accustomed to their approval, they begin to withdraw it, making you feel as though you must constantly earn their praise. Stoicism teaches us that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. A Stoic finds worth from within, knowing that true value comes from living in alignment with one's principles, not from the approval of others. When you detach from the need for external validation, manipulators lose one of their most powerful tools. Another sign of emotional control is when someone creates a sense of obligation. They do you favors, offer help, or give you gifts, but there's always an expectation in return. While their gestures may seem kind on the surface, they are carefully calculated to put you in a position where you feel you owe them something. Stoicism teaches the importance of reciprocity in relationships, but not in a transactional sense. Genuine kindness is given freely, without expectation. When someone's favors come with hidden strings, it's a clear sign of manipulation. Recognize this and set boundaries. True generosity doesn't demand repayment, and your worth is not measured by how much you can give in return. Manipulators often create a sense of confusion to maintain control. They offer contradictory advice, change their stance, or give you mixed messages, leaving you unsure of what to believe. This confusion is intentional. It keeps you dependent on them for clarity and guidance. Stoicism, however, values simplicity and reason. When faced with confusion, strip away the noise and focus on the facts. What are the basic truths of the situation? Are you being given clear, consistent information, or are things being muddled to keep you off balance? By cutting through the confusion, you can see the manipulation for what it is, a tactic to keep you reliant on someone else's judgment. Isolation is another tool used by manipulators to strengthen their control. They may subtly discourage you from seeking advice from others, suggesting that only they understand you or that others don't have your best interests at heart. Over time, this isolation makes you more dependent on them, as they become your sole source of guidance or support. Stoicism teaches the value of community and trusted relationships. No one should have the power to cut you off from those who care about you. Recognize when someone is trying to isolate you and take steps to reconnect with your support network. A true friend encourages you to seek multiple perspectives, not just their own. Manipulators are also adept at shifting blame. When things go wrong, they deflect responsibility onto others, never accepting fault for their own actions. They may twist situations to make it seem as though you are the one at fault, even when their behavior is clearly the problem. Stoicism teaches us to take responsibility for our own actions and to recognize when others are avoiding theirs. If someone constantly blames others and never owns up to their mistakes, it's a clear sign that they are trying to manipulate the situation to maintain control. Don't allow yourself to be drawn into their web of deflection. Hold firm to the truth and be clear about where responsibility truly lies. In addition to these tactics, manipulators often use emotional highs and lows to keep you off balance. One moment, they may be warm, kind, and supportive, making you feel valued and appreciated. But the next, they may withdraw their affection, become distant, or even cold. This roller coaster of emotions is designed to keep you chasing their approval, never quite sure where you stand. Stoicism teaches us to seek emotional stability and not to be swayed by the ups and downs of others. When someone's behavior is erratic and unpredictable, it's often a sign of emotional control. By remaining centered and not allowing your mood to be dictated by their actions, you take back control over your emotional state. Manipulation also thrives on secrecy and the withholding of information. A manipulator may keep you in the dark about important details, only revealing what they want you to know. This creates an imbalance of power, where they have the upper hand because they control the flow of information. Stoicism values transparency and honesty. In any relationship, information should be shared openly and fairly. If someone is deliberately withholding information to control your decisions, it's a clear sign of manipulation. Don't be afraid to ask direct questions and demand clarity. The more information you have, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions and break free from their control. Another tactic manipulators use is gaslighting. This involves distorting reality to make you doubt your own perceptions and judgment. They may deny things they've said or done, insist that you're misremembering events, or accuse you of overreacting. Over time, this can erode your confidence in your own sense of reality, making you more reliant on them to interpret situations for you. Stoicism teaches us to trust in our own reason and judgment. When someone tries to make you doubt your own reality, it's a sign that they are trying to control you. Hold firm to your perceptions and don't allow them to rewrite the narrative. You know what you've experienced, and no one has the right to tell you otherwise. Manipulators also thrive on creating a sense of dependency. They may position themselves as indispensable, making it seem as though you couldn't possibly succeed without their help or guidance. They create problems only to present themselves as the solution, fostering a cycle of dependence where you constantly turn to them for answers. Stoicism teaches self-reliance and the importance of inner strength. You are capable of making decisions and solving problems on your own without being dependent on someone else's approval or assistance. By recognizing when someone is trying to create dependency, you can reclaim your autonomy and break free from their control. The Stoic approach to detecting emotional control also involves recognizing when someone tries to undermine your confidence. Manipulators often make subtle, cutting remarks or backhanded compliments designed to make you question your abilities or self-worth. These comments are delivered in such a way that they seem harmless, but over time they chip away at your confidence. Stoicism teaches us that our worth is not defined by the opinions of others. Your value comes from living in alignment with your own principles and virtues, not from the approval or disapproval of others. When you recognize someone trying to undermine your confidence, remind yourself of your own strengths and abilities. Don't let their words define you. Lastly, manipulators often use distraction as a way to avoid accountability. When confronted with their behavior, they may divert the conversation to unrelated topics or create new problems to shift your focus away from the issue at hand. This keeps you from holding them accountable for their actions, allowing them to continue their manipulative behavior unchecked. Stoicism teaches the importance of staying focused on what truly matters. When someone tries to distract you from the core issue, bring the conversation back to the facts. Don't allow them to derail the discussion with irrelevant distractions. By staying focused, you can hold them accountable and prevent them from escaping responsibility. Manipulation is a subtle and powerful form of control, but with the clarity and wisdom that Stoicism provides, you can detect and dismantle it. By staying grounded in reason, observing without judgment, and trusting in your own perceptions, you can see through the tactics of emotional control and reclaim your autonomy. The key to breaking free from manipulation is recognizing it for what it is, a tool used by those who seek power over others. But once you see it, you have the power to resist it. Stoicism empowers you to remain steadfast in your principles, to trust in your own judgment, and to not be swayed by the manipulative tactics of others. With this strength, you can protect yourself from emotional control and live a life of true freedom, guided by your own reason and virtue. Cruelty and a lack of empathy are not just behaviors. They represent a deeper, darker reflection of malice within a person's soul. While manipulation and hidden motives may initially cloud your ability to see through someone's intentions, cruelty strips away all pretense. It leaves no room for misunderstanding. When someone lacks the ability to care for or acknowledge the pain they inflict, they reveal an alarming absence of humanity. Stoicism, with its principles of virtue and reason, gives us the tools to observe and identify these signs early, protecting ourselves from their toxic impact. In the Stoic view, human beings are interconnected, sharing experiences and emotions that form the fabric of our relationships. A person who lacks empathy, who views others' suffering with indifference or even satisfaction, distances themselves from this human bond. They do not share in the common experiences of joy or pain, and instead, they treat others as objects to be used or discarded. This lack of connection is a clear indication of malice. Stoicism teaches us to observe not only how people treat those they wish to impress, but also how they treat those from whom they can gain nothing. When someone consistently treats others as tools rather than as fellow human beings, it is a clear sign of cruelty. The absence of empathy is particularly dangerous because it enables malicious individuals to justify their actions without remorse. They see others as obstacles or stepping stones, using cruelty as a means to achieve their own ends. They may downplay the harm they cause or rationalize it as necessary. Stoicism reminds us to always look beyond the surface, to question the reasons behind a person's actions. Someone who constantly seeks to justify cruelty or harm is often revealing the deeper malice that drives them. They may argue that the pain they inflict is deserved or that they had no choice, but their lack of concern for the consequences speaks volumes about their character. In interactions with people who lack empathy, a pattern emerges, one of manipulation and control. They may feign concern when it suits their goals, only to turn around and dismiss the suffering of others once their needs have been met. This inconsistency is a key indicator of malice. Stoicism teaches that a virtuous person acts consistently, regardless of the circumstances. Someone who shows empathy only when it benefits them is not truly empathetic. They are using it as a tool for manipulation, revealing their cruelty when they no longer need to maintain the facade of kindness. Another hallmark of cruelty is the enjoyment of others' pain. Whether through mocking, belittling, or outright aggression, those who exhibit cruelty often take pleasure in watching others suffer. They may disguise their actions as jokes or claim that they are simply being honest, but the underlying intent is clear. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm in the face of such behavior, to not be drawn into emotional reactions, and to observe it for what it is, a sign of deep malice. Those who delight in causing harm reveal themselves through their actions, and their lack of empathy becomes impossible to ignore. Cruelty often extends to the way a person handles power. When given the opportunity, those who lack empathy will use their authority to dominate and control others. They see power as a means to assert their superiority, often at the expense of those they consider weaker or less valuable. Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in self-control and wisdom, not in the ability to dominate others. When someone abuses their power to belittle, control, or harm others, they are showing their cruelty in its most direct form. They may claim that their actions are justified, but the truth is that their cruelty stems from a desire to assert dominance and to maintain control through fear. A person with cruel tendencies often shows no remorse for their actions. They may inflict pain, cause harm, or leave a trail of emotional damage behind them, but they rarely, if ever, acknowledge the impact of their behavior. They may even go so far as to blame the victim, suggesting that the person deserved what happened to them. Stoicism teaches us to take responsibility for our actions and to reflect on the harm we may cause others, but someone with a cruel heart lacks this capacity for self-reflection. Instead, they deflect blame and refuse to confront the reality of their actions. This lack of accountability is another clear sign of malice. Furthermore, a lack of empathy is often evident in the way a person handles vulnerability. People who lack empathy are quick to exploit the weaknesses of others. They may take advantage of someone's trust, use personal information against them, or manipulate their vulnerabilities for their own gain. Stoicism teaches us to protect our vulnerabilities and to be mindful of whom we share them with. When someone consistently uses another person's pain or insecurities against them, they are demonstrating a profound lack of empathy and a willingness to cause harm. Their actions are calculated, designed to hurt, and reveal the depth of their cruelty. In relationships, both personal and professional, cruelty is often seen in the way someone reacts when others experience success or joy. A person who lacks empathy may respond with jealousy or bitterness, unable to feel genuine happiness for others. They may undermine someone's achievements or belittle their joy, often using subtle remarks or passive-aggressive behavior to diminish the other person's accomplishments. Stoicism teaches us to celebrate the success of others and to recognize that their joy does not diminish our own. When someone consistently reacts with negativity to the happiness of others, it is a sign that they are driven by malice and envy. Cruelty also manifests in the way a person deals with conflict. A person who lacks empathy will often escalate conflicts rather than seek resolution. They may use arguments as opportunities to hurt or humiliate others rather than working toward understanding or compromise. Stoicism encourages us to remain calm and composed during conflicts, to seek solutions that are fair and just. Someone who consistently uses conflict to cause emotional harm rather than to resolve differences is revealing their malicious intent. They are not interested in resolution. They are interested in power and control. One of the most telling signs of a lack of empathy is indifference to the suffering of others. A person with a cruel heart may witness someone in pain, whether emotional or physical, and feel nothing. Worse, they may express indifference or even mock the person for their suffering. This coldness, this detachment from the shared human experience, is one of the clearest indicators of malice. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control the suffering of others, we can choose how we respond to it, with kindness, compassion, and support. A person who consistently responds to suffering with indifference is disconnected from these virtues, revealing their lack of empathy and their capacity for cruelty. Finally, cruelty and a lack of empathy are often accompanied by a sense of superiority. Those who exhibit these traits frequently view themselves as better than others, whether intellectually, morally, or socially. This inflated sense of self allows them to justify their cruel behavior, as they believe they are entitled to treat others with disdain. Stoicism teaches humility, reminding us that we are all equal in our shared humanity. When someone consistently acts as though they are above others, using cruelty to reinforce their sense of superiority, they are showing their true nature. They are driven not by virtue, but by malice and arrogance. As we transition from the understanding of how cruelty and a lack of empathy reveal malice, it becomes clear that these traits don't exist in isolation. They often intertwine with other negative qualities, such as hypocrisy and envy, which further deepen the harm they cause. Identifying these traits early through a Stoic lens allows us to protect ourselves and cultivate relationships that are built on trust, kindness, and mutual respect. Stoicism provides the tools to see through the layers of cruelty and indifference, helping us navigate a world where malice often hides behind the mask of civility. Cruelty and a lack of empathy reveal the true darkness within a person's soul, but these traits rarely exist alone. Often, they are accompanied by a more subtle and insidious characteristic: hypocrisy. While cruelty and indifference can be recognized through their direct impact on others, hypocrisy hides behind a mask of virtue, pretending to embody moral values that the person, in truth, disregards. This false facade allows hypocrites to deceive others into believing they are trustworthy and good, all while quietly serving their own interests. To fully understand the depth of malice in a person's character, we must learn to expose hypocrisy, which requires a sharp eye and unwavering integrity. Stoicism provides the framework to see through these false facades and uncover the truth that lies beneath. Hypocrisy often thrives in an environment where words are used as a shield. Hypocrites are skilled at saying the right things, using moral or virtuous language to paint themselves in a favorable light. They speak about honesty, loyalty, and justice, but their actions consistently fall short of these ideals. This disconnect between words and actions is where hypocrisy begins to reveal itself. Stoicism teaches that words mean little if they are not backed up by consistent behavior. A Stoic looks beyond the surface of a person's speech, paying close attention to whether their actions reflect the values they claim to uphold. It is through this lens of consistent observation that hypocrisy becomes clear. Hypocrites often create confusion by aligning themselves with noble causes or associating with virtuous individuals, hoping that these affiliations will protect them from scrutiny. They may position themselves as champions of a cause or as pillars of a community, but their involvement is often superficial, driven by self-interest rather than a genuine desire to make a difference. Stoicism teaches us not to be swayed by associations or appearances. A person's true nature is revealed not by the company they keep, but by their individual actions. When someone's public persona doesn't align with their private behavior, their hypocrisy is laid bare. One of the most obvious signs of hypocrisy is the way a person applies moral standards. Hypocrites tend to demand high standards from others while exempting themselves from those same expectations. They are quick to point out the flaws in others, holding people accountable for even minor mistakes. Yet when their own actions are questioned, they offer endless justifications and excuses. Stoicism, by contrast, promotes equality in judgment, teaching that we must apply the same standards to ourselves that we expect from others. When someone holds you to a different standard than they hold themselves, it's a clear sign of hypocrisy. Stoicism encourages us to maintain fairness in how we view both ourselves and others. A key strategy of hypocrites is to seek out praise for their supposed virtue, often engaging in what is commonly known as virtue signaling. They make grand statements about their moral beliefs, not because they truly live by those values, but because they want to be seen as virtuous by others. This public performance of morality is hollow and self-serving. Stoicism values quiet, consistent action over empty words. A Stoic does not feel the need to proclaim their virtues to the world. Their actions speak for themselves. When someone is constantly broadcasting their moral superiority, especially when their actions don't align with their words, it's a clear sign of hypocrisy. Hypocrites also thrive on controlling the narrative around their behavior. They are often skilled at spinning situations in a way that allows them to appear virtuous, even when their actions suggest otherwise. They may craft elaborate justifications for their behavior, deflecting blame onto others, or reframing their self-serving actions as acts of benevolence. Stoicism teaches us to remain focused on the facts of a situation, cutting through the layers of distortion to see the truth. A Stoic is not swayed by clever rhetoric or manipulative storytelling. When faced with someone who consistently tries to control the narrative to their advantage, it's essential to recognize that this is often a tactic used to hide hypocrisy. Another tactic hypocrites use is selective compassion. They may show concern for certain issues or individuals when it benefits them, but ignore or downplay suffering when there is nothing to gain. This inconsistent application of empathy is a hallmark of hypocrisy. Stoicism teaches that true compassion is not conditional or performative. It is a consistent and genuine desire to alleviate suffering, regardless of personal benefit. When someone's compassion seems to turn on and off depending on the circumstances, it's a sign that their empathy is insincere. Their selective concern is a tool used to maintain a false image of morality. Hypocrites often hide behind positions of power or authority, assuming that their status protects them from being held accountable. They may rely on their reputation or past achievements to shield themselves from criticism, expecting others to overlook their inconsistencies. Stoicism, however, teaches that no one is above accountability. A true Stoic understands that authority and status do not excuse bad behavior. When someone uses their position to deflect criticism or avoid responsibility for their actions, it is a clear sign of hypocrisy. Their refusal to be held to the same standards as everyone else reveals their true nature. A crucial aspect of exposing hypocrisy is observing how someone reacts when confronted with their own inconsistencies. A hypocrite often reacts with defensiveness, anger, or denial when their behavior is questioned. They may try to shift the blame onto others or claim that their actions have been misunderstood. Stoicism teaches the importance of accepting criticism with humility and using it as an opportunity for growth. Someone who cannot handle being held accountable for their actions is likely hiding behind a false facade. Their inability to engage with honest feedback is a sign that they are more concerned with protecting their image than with living authentically. Hypocrites often exhibit an inflated sense of self-righteousness. They view themselves as morally superior to others and are quick to judge those who don't live up to their standards. However, this self-righteousness is a cover for their own shortcomings. They project an image of moral purity while quietly engaging in the very behaviors they condemn in others. Stoicism teaches that true virtue is not about judging others, but about constantly striving to improve oneself. A Stoic does not feel the need to elevate themselves by tearing others down. When someone consistently acts with self-righteousness, it's a sign that they are projecting a false sense of superiority to hide their own hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is also revealed in how a person handles adversity. When things are going well, a hypocrite may maintain their facade of virtue, but in times of difficulty, their true character often emerges. They may abandon their supposed principles when they are no longer convenient, or when sticking to them would come at a personal cost. Stoicism teaches that adversity is the ultimate test of character. A person's values should remain consistent, even when it is difficult or disadvantageous to uphold them. When someone quickly abandons their moral principles in challenging situations, it's a sign that those principles were never truly part of their character. Another clear sign of hypocrisy is when someone uses moral outrage as a tool for manipulation. Hypocrites often feign outrage over issues or behaviors that align with their agenda, using emotional appeals to rally support or to deflect attention from their own faults. This performative outrage is not rooted in genuine concern, but is used as a tactic to manipulate others into taking their side. Stoicism teaches emotional control and encourages us to respond to situations with reason rather than allowing ourselves to be swept up in emotional displays. When someone's outrage seems disproportionate or opportunistic, it's worth questioning whether their motives are truly sincere or whether they are using emotion as a tool for manipulation. Finally, hypocrisy is often exposed through patterns of behavior. While a hypocrite may be able to maintain their false facade for a time, eventually their true nature will reveal itself through repeated inconsistencies. They may be able to deceive others in the short term, but over time, their actions will betray their words. Stoicism teaches patience and careful observation. A Stoic does not rush to judgment, but waits for patterns of behavior to emerge. When someone consistently fails to live up to the values they claim to hold, their hypocrisy becomes impossible to ignore. Hypocrisy is one of the most insidious forms of malice, as it hides behind a mask of virtue and morality. But with the tools provided by Stoicism, observation, integrity, and rational judgment, we can expose hypocrisy for what it truly is. By focusing on actions rather than words, maintaining fairness in our judgment, and refusing to be swayed by emotional manipulation, we can see through the false facades that hypocrites construct. Ultimately, Stoicism calls us not only to recognize hypocrisy in others, but to hold ourselves to a higher standard, ensuring that our own actions are always in alignment with the values we profess. Hypocrisy exposes a person's ability to hide behind false virtues, but beneath that mask often lies something more corrosive: envy. Relentless envy is a form of malice that silently festers, causing individuals to harbor resentment toward the success, happiness, or possessions of others. While hypocrisy may involve creating a false image to deceive, envy operates through bitterness, slowly eroding the goodwill one might expect in any healthy relationship. Stoicism provides invaluable wisdom for identifying the signs of envy, helping us guard against its toxic effects on our lives and relationships. Envy often begins quietly, unnoticed by its target. It can appear in small, seemingly harmless remarks or gestures. However, those driven by envy tend to minimize or dismiss the achievements of others, subtly undermining their success. They may downplay your accomplishments, suggesting that luck played a greater role than skill, or that your success is fleeting. Stoicism teaches us to remain steadfast in our own self-assessment, unaffected by the opinions of others. By recognizing the need to separate our own sense of worth from external validation, we can see through these subtle attempts to diminish our achievements for what they truly are: envy. Those consumed by envy may often disguise their jealousy as concern or advice. They may question whether you've made the right decisions or express doubts about the sustainability of your success. On the surface, their comments may seem well-meaning, but there is always an underlying desire to chip away at your confidence. Stoicism teaches that we should not allow the opinions of others to dictate how we view our own choices. By staying true to our values and rationally evaluating the criticism we receive, we can identify when someone's advice is tainted by envy rather than genuine concern. Envy also manifests through comparison. A person driven by envy constantly compares themselves to others, and when they fall short in these comparisons, they harbor resentment. They may belittle others' successes by focusing on superficial or irrelevant details, shifting the conversation toward their own perceived shortcomings. Stoicism encourages us to resist the trap of comparison altogether. Each individual follows their own path, and comparing our journey to someone else's is both irrational and damaging. When you notice someone frequently drawing comparisons between themselves and others, particularly when those comparisons are designed to downplay the successes of others, it's often a sign that envy is at work. Another form of envy appears in the way a person reacts to your joy or good fortune. Instead of sharing in your happiness, someone gripped by envy may seem disinterested or offer only lukewarm congratulations. They might even find ways to subtly shift the focus back to themselves, steering conversations away from your achievements. Stoicism reminds us that true joy comes from within, and relying on others to validate or share in our happiness can leave us vulnerable to the effects of their envy. When someone can't fully celebrate your victories, it's often because they are comparing your success to their own perceived lack, feeding their envy in the process. People ruled by envy are often quick to criticize others, particularly when they feel threatened by someone else's accomplishments. This criticism might come in the form of harsh judgments, rumors, or gossip aimed at tarnishing the reputation of the person they envy. Stoicism teaches us to observe such behavior with detachment, recognizing that it stems from the envious person's insecurity rather than any true flaw in the target of their envy. When you see someone consistently tearing others down behind their backs, especially when those individuals have recently experienced success, you are likely witnessing envy in action. Envy can also lead individuals to actively sabotage the success or happiness of others. They may attempt to undermine someone's efforts, offer unhelpful or misleading advice, or even spread rumors designed to create doubt or mistrust. This behavior is often subtle, cloaked in a guise of helpfulness or concern, but its true intent is to prevent the person they envy from achieving more. Stoicism, with its focus on integrity and rational action, helps us see through this deception. When someone's help seems to consistently derail your progress or cause unnecessary complications, it's important to consider whether envy may be driving their actions. A person consumed by envy often finds it difficult to express genuine gratitude or appreciation for what they have. Their focus is always on what others possess or achieve, and this constant comparison leaves them feeling dissatisfied with their own life. They may complain frequently, focusing on the things they lack rather than appreciating what they already have. Stoicism teaches the value of gratitude, reminding us that contentment comes not from external possessions or achievements, but from a mindset of appreciating the present moment and what we already have. When you encounter someone who is always fixated on what others have, never satisfied with their own life, you are likely seeing the corrosive effects of envy. Envy can also manifest in passive-aggressive behavior. Rather than openly expressing their jealousy, an envious person may engage in subtle behaviors that undermine or irritate those they envy. They may offer backhanded compliments, make sarcastic remarks, or act in ways that are meant to subtly provoke or belittle. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm in the face of such behavior, recognizing it for what it truly is, a reflection of the other person's internal turmoil, not a judgment on our worth. By maintaining our composure and not reacting to their provocations, we can prevent envy from taking root in our own hearts. Another way envy reveals itself is through a person's inability to feel contentment when others succeed. Instead of feeling inspired by someone else's achievements, an envious person feels threatened. They may harbor secret resentment toward those who have achieved what they have not, and this resentment can grow over time, poisoning relationships and turning admiration into bitterness. Stoicism teaches us to view others' success as separate from our own, understanding that another person's achievements do not diminish our own potential. When someone consistently reacts negatively to the success of others, it's often because they are driven by envy rather than a healthy sense of competition. People ruled by envy often see the world through a lens of scarcity, believing that success, happiness, and wealth are limited resources. This mindset leads them to resent others who seem to have more, as they believe there is less left for them. Stoicism, however, teaches us to adopt an abundance mindset, recognizing that life's opportunities are not finite, and someone else's success does not prevent us from achieving our own. When you encounter someone who views every success as a threat to their own, it's a clear sign that envy is shaping their worldview. Envy can also be identified by how someone responds to failure, both their own and others. A person driven by envy may take satisfaction in the misfortunes of others, seeing their setbacks as a leveling of the playing field. Conversely, they may react with extreme bitterness or self-pity when they themselves face failure, unable to cope with the idea that others are succeeding while they are struggling. Stoicism teaches us to handle both success and failure with grace, recognizing that neither defines our worth. When someone seems to take pleasure in the failure of others or reacts disproportionately to their own setbacks, envy is often at the root. The envious person is rarely content to keep their jealousy to themselves. They may try to enlist others in their resentment, spreading their negative feelings through gossip or subtle manipulation. By sowing seeds of doubt or criticism, they hope to bring others down to their level, creating an environment where no one feels comfortable celebrating their successes. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of standing firm in our values and not allowing ourselves to be dragged into the negativity of others. When you see someone trying to spread their envy to others, it's a clear sign that they are attempting to create a toxic environment where their jealousy can thrive. One of the most damaging aspects of envy is its ability to destroy relationships. People driven by jealousy may become distant or hostile toward those they once considered friends, unable to cope with the feelings of inadequacy that others' successes bring up in them. They may withdraw, sabotage the relationship, or allow their resentment to fester into outright hostility. Stoicism reminds us to approach relationships with sincerity and honesty, valuing connection over competition. When you sense a shift in a relationship where the other person's behavior becomes more cold or distant after your successes, it's often a sign that envy has taken hold. Ultimately, envy is a destructive force, not only for the person who experiences it, but for those around them as well. It creates division, breeds resentment, and prevents genuine connection from flourishing. Stoicism provides a framework for recognizing and confronting envy, both in ourselves and in others. By staying grounded in our own values, resisting the temptation to compare ourselves to others, and practicing gratitude for what we have, we can guard against the toxic effects of envy. When you begin to see the signs of relentless jealousy in those around you, it's essential to protect yourself from its corrosive influence while continuing to cultivate a life rooted in virtue, contentment, and inner peace. Memory updated. Envy often reveals itself through subtle remarks and passive-aggressive actions, but there is an even quieter form of malice that can lurk in plain sight, hidden hostility. While envy may bubble beneath the surface, hostility can be carefully masked, concealed behind smiles, politeness, or even feigned kindness. It is this concealed animosity that can be most dangerous, as it works silently, eroding trust and stability in relationships. The Stoic practice of silent observation offers a powerful method for uncovering these hidden threats. By remaining quiet, calm, and focused, we can observe the true nature of those around us, allowing their actions, rather than their words, to reveal their intentions. Hostility is not always expressed through outward anger or confrontation. In fact, those who harbor hidden hostility often take great care to disguise their feelings. They may appear agreeable, even supportive, while quietly working against you behind the scenes. The power of silence in Stoicism is not about passivity or withdrawal, but about actively creating space for observation. By choosing not to react immediately, we give ourselves the opportunity to see the underlying currents of a situation. People who harbor hidden hostility will often reveal themselves in subtle ways, through their body language, their tone, or the small inconsistencies in their behavior. It is in these moments of silence that their true feelings become evident. Silence allows us to avoid the trap of emotional reaction. Those with hidden hostility may try to provoke a reaction from you, subtly testing your patience or attempting to create conflict. When you respond emotionally, you lose clarity and become entangled in the drama they create. Stoicism teaches the value of emotional detachment, allowing us to remain unaffected by the actions of others. By choosing silence, we remove the fuel that these individuals need to escalate tension. Instead of reacting to their provocations, we observe. We watch how they react to situations where they cannot manipulate or control the outcome. This silence often unsettles those with hostile intentions, as they rely on your emotional response to advance their agenda. Hidden hostility also reveals itself in how a person handles power and influence. Someone who is secretly hostile may seem cooperative on the surface, but they will subtly undermine your efforts when given the chance. They may withhold critical information, delay important decisions, or create obstacles that make it difficult for you to succeed. Stoic silence gives us the patience to recognize these patterns of behavior without rushing to judgment. By observing over time, we can see the ways in which their hostility manifests through their actions, even when their words suggest otherwise. Silence becomes a tool for gathering information, for seeing the broader picture without being swayed by momentary frustration. Another benefit of silence is that it allows space for others to reveal themselves. People who harbor hidden hostility may fill the silence with unnecessary explanations or justifications, offering more information than is needed. This overcompensation is often a sign of guilt or insecurity as they attempt to cover up their true intentions. Stoicism teaches us that there is wisdom in letting others speak, in allowing them to fill the quiet with their own words. As they continue to talk, they often reveal more than they intend, exposing the cracks in their facade. By staying silent and attentive, we allow them to reveal the very hostility they are trying to hide. Hidden hostility can also be identified by how someone reacts to your success or happiness. While they may offer congratulations, their words often lack sincerity, and their body language may betray their true feelings. They may be quick to change the subject, downplay your achievements, or subtly shift the focus back to themselves. In moments like these, silence allows us to observe without drawing attention to their behavior. We take note of the inconsistencies between their words and their actions, recognizing that their apparent goodwill is little more than a mask for deeper resentment. The Stoic practice of observation without judgment gives us the clarity to see these subtle signs without letting them affect our own sense of joy or accomplishment. In some cases, hidden hostility may take the form of passive aggression. Instead of direct confrontation, the hostile individual may use sarcasm, backhanded compliments, or small acts of sabotage to express their resentment. These actions are often too subtle to confront directly, but they leave a trail of unease and tension. Stoic silence helps us navigate these situations without being drawn into conflict. By remaining calm and refusing to react to their provocations, we prevent them from gaining the upper hand. Over time, their passive-aggressive behavior becomes more obvious, and their hostility is exposed for what it is, an attempt to undermine without taking responsibility. Silence also serves as a mirror for those who are hostile. When faced with someone who refuses to engage in their games, they are forced to confront their own behavior. The quiet confidence of Stoic silence leaves no room for manipulation or deceit. Instead of reacting emotionally or defensively, we remain steady, allowing them to reveal themselves through their increasing frustration. This approach often disarms those with hidden hostility, as they rely on conflict and chaos to maintain control. When that control is taken away, their hostility becomes more apparent, and they are left to contend with the discomfort of their own actions. Another way hidden hostility manifests is through the creation of unnecessary obstacles or complications. A person who harbors resentment may go out of their way to make things more difficult for you, often in subtle ways that are hard to directly address. They may claim to be following the rules or acting in your best interest, but their true goal is to slow your progress or create frustration. Stoic silence allows us to recognize these patterns without becoming entangled in the frustration they are trying to provoke. By observing calmly, we can identify the motives behind their actions and respond with reason rather than emotion. This gives us the power to navigate these challenges without losing our composure. Hidden hostility also tends to surface in how a person speaks about others. Someone who is secretly hostile may frequently gossip or speak negatively about those they view as rivals or threats. While they may not directly confront the individuals they resent, they will undermine their reputation behind closed doors, spreading rumors or sowing doubt. Stoicism teaches us to avoid engaging in gossip or negative talk, as it leads to unnecessary conflict and distracts from our own growth. By remaining silent in these moments, we not only protect our integrity, but also gain insight into the true nature of the person speaking. Their hostility, once hidden, becomes evident in their words and actions toward others. The Stoic approach to silence also encourages us to observe how a person reacts when they are not in control. Those who harbor hidden hostility often thrive in environments where they can manipulate or influence the outcome of events. However, when they lose that control, their frustration and resentment tend to surface. They may become irritable, defensive, or even aggressive when things don't go their way. By staying silent and allowing events to unfold, we can watch how they handle situations that are beyond their control. Their inability to remain composed reveals the hostility they have been trying to conceal, giving us valuable insight into their true character. Hidden hostility can also be uncovered by paying attention to how a person behaves in moments of silence themselves. When conversation pauses or attention shifts away from them, they may become uncomfortable, quickly trying to fill the space with words or actions that reassert their presence. This discomfort with silence often signals an underlying insecurity or resentment, as they fear losing control of the narrative. Stoicism teaches us to be comfortable with silence, to use it as a tool for reflection and observation. When others struggle with silence, it can be a sign that they are hiding something beneath their surface composure. The power of silence lies in its ability to reveal what is hidden. By choosing not to react, not to engage in unnecessary conflict, and not to be drawn into the emotional games of others, we create a space where truth can emerge. People who harbor hidden hostility rely on the chaos of reaction to keep their malice concealed. But when faced with calm, steady silence, their hostility becomes more difficult to hide. Through observation, we can see the inconsistencies, the small cracks in their facade, and the subtle signs that betray their true feelings. Silence, then, becomes our greatest ally in uncovering the hidden threats that lurk beneath the surface. As we continue to cultivate the practice of Stoic silence, we strengthen our ability to see through the illusions that others create. Hostility, no matter how well hidden, cannot withstand the clarity that comes from quiet observation. By remaining grounded in our own integrity and refusing to be swayed by the manipulations of others, we gain the power to protect ourselves from the harm that hidden hostility can cause. Stoicism reminds us that in silence we find strength, and through observation we uncover the truth. Hidden hostility, once uncovered through silence and careful observation, reveals the subtle yet dangerous intentions of those who wish to cause harm. Now, the challenge becomes how to protect yourself from these individuals without engaging in unnecessary conflict. Confrontation with malicious people often leads to further chaos and emotional distress, but Stoicism offers a path to maintain your inner peace and avoid being drawn into their toxic behavior. It's not about running from the problem, but rather about mastering the art of disengagement and setting firm boundaries. Protecting your peace doesn't mean avoiding all conflict, but instead choosing your battles wisely and understanding that some fights are simply not worth your energy. Malicious individuals thrive on conflict. They use arguments, manipulation, and emotional games to provoke reactions and create chaos. They seek power over others through these conflicts, gaining satisfaction from seeing others lose their composure. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm in the face of provocation, to not give them the satisfaction of a heated response. By maintaining emotional detachment, you deprive them of the power they seek. This is not an act of surrender, but a strategic way to protect yourself from their negativity. When you refuse to be drawn into their web of conflict, you maintain control over your own peace of mind. One of the key strategies in avoiding conflict with malicious people is recognizing that you are not obligated to engage in every argument. Malicious individuals often lure others into pointless debates or confrontations, not because they seek resolution, but because they enjoy the chaos that comes from conflict. Stoicism teaches that we have the power to choose our responses. Just because someone provokes you does not mean you are required to respond. In fact, silence and restraint can be far more powerful than any words spoken in the heat of an argument. By refusing to engage, you deny them the opportunity to escalate the situation. Malicious people often use personal attacks to undermine your confidence and provoke emotional reactions. They may criticize your character, question your decisions, or bring up past mistakes in an attempt to get under your skin. Stoicism encourages us to view these attacks for what they are, attempts to destabilize you emotionally. Instead of reacting defensively, a Stoic focuses on what is within their control, their own thoughts and actions. When you remain composed in the face of personal attacks, you take away the power they hold over you. Your sense of self-worth should never be dictated by the opinions or criticisms of malicious individuals. Another technique for avoiding conflict is setting clear boundaries. Malicious people often push the limits of what is acceptable, testing how far they can go before you react. They may invade your personal space, overstep in conversations, or make unreasonable demands. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining firm boundaries, both emotional and physical. By clearly defining what you will and will not tolerate, you protect yourself from being manipulated or controlled by others. When your boundaries are clear and consistent, malicious people are less likely to push you into conflict, as they realize they cannot easily manipulate or provoke you. The Stoic practice of self-reflection is also crucial in avoiding conflict. Malicious individuals often try to make you doubt yourself, planting seeds of insecurity or guilt in an attempt to manipulate your emotions. By regularly reflecting on your actions, motivations, and values, you can remain grounded in your own sense of integrity. When you are confident in who you are and the choices you make, it becomes much harder for others to provoke feelings of doubt or guilt. Self-reflection helps you see through their manipulations, allowing you to stand firm in your truth without feeling the need to justify yourself to those who seek conflict. Malicious people also thrive on creating drama, stirring up tension between others to cause division and gain control. They may spread rumors, exaggerate conflicts, or turn people against each other to create an environment of instability. Stoicism teaches us to avoid being drawn into these dramas by maintaining emotional detachment. When faced with rumors or attempts to stir conflict, a Stoic focuses on facts rather than speculation or hearsay. By refusing to engage in gossip or drama, you protect your peace and avoid being pulled into the chaos that malicious people often create. This detachment also helps you remain neutral in situations where others are being manipulated, allowing you to see the truth clearly without becoming emotionally entangled. Another important Stoic principle is the understanding that you cannot control the actions of others, only your own reactions. Malicious people may behave in hurtful or deceitful ways, but your response is entirely within your control. By accepting that you cannot change their behavior, you free yourself from the frustration that comes from trying to make them act differently. Stoicism encourages us to focus on our own actions, ensuring that we remain aligned with our values, regardless of how others behave. When you stop trying to control or change malicious individuals, you take back your power and protect your peace of mind. In avoiding conflict, it is also important to recognize when walking away is the best course of action. Malicious people often feed off prolonged engagement, drawing out conflicts to exhaust or wear you down. Stoicism teaches that not every battle is worth fighting. There is great strength in knowing when to disengage and walk away from a situation that does not serve you. Walking away is not an act of weakness, but of wisdom and self-preservation. It allows you to preserve your energy for things that truly matter, rather than wasting it on conflicts that only serve to drain your peace. Another key to avoiding conflict is practicing empathy without becoming emotionally involved. Malicious people often behave the way they do because of their own unresolved issues, insecurities, or personal pain. While this does not excuse their actions, understanding their motivations can help you avoid taking their behavior personally. Stoicism teaches us to practice compassion from a distance, acknowledging the struggles of others without allowing ourselves to be pulled into their emotional turmoil. By recognizing that their hostility is a reflection of their own inner conflict, you can maintain your peace while still treating them with dignity and respect. A Stoic approach to conflict also involves practicing patience. Malicious people may try to provoke immediate reactions, pushing your buttons in hopes of causing you to lash out or lose control. However, Stoicism teaches the value of patience, allowing time for emotions to settle before responding. By taking a step back and allowing yourself time to reflect before reacting, you avoid being drawn into unnecessary conflict. Patience gives you the space to choose a measured and thoughtful response, rather than reacting impulsively to provocation. This calm approach often diffuses the situation, as malicious people are left without the emotional reaction they were seeking. Additionally, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of inner peace over external validation. Malicious individuals may try to bait you into conflict by attacking your reputation or questioning your choices in front of others. They seek to put you on the defensive, forcing you to justify yourself in a public setting. However, Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from within, not from the approval of others. When you are secure in your own integrity and values, the opinions of others hold little power over you. By refusing to engage in public conflict or defend yourself against baseless attacks, you protect your peace and demonstrate that your worth is not determined by the judgments of others. Finally, Stoicism teaches us the power of acceptance. Malicious people exist, and their actions may never change. Trying to fix or reform them can lead to frustration and conflict. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to accept that some individuals will always seek conflict and harm, but we do not have to participate in their games. Acceptance allows us to move forward with clarity and peace, knowing that we have chosen not to engage in unnecessary battles. This acceptance is not about giving up, but about recognizing what is within your control and choosing to protect your peace above all else. By practicing the Stoic techniques of emotional detachment, patience, self-reflection, and boundary setting, you can avoid being drawn into conflict with malicious individuals. These strategies allow you to maintain your inner peace, even in the face of hostility, ensuring that you remain grounded in your values and not swayed by the negativity of others. In choosing to protect your peace, you reclaim your power and refuse to be a pawn in someone else's game of conflict and control. Stoicism offers a path to navigate the complexities of human relationships without losing sight of your own well-being, showing that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. As we've explored the clear signs of an evil person through the lens of Stoicism, it's important to remember that the power to protect your peace lies within you. Whether you're dealing with deception, manipulation, envy, or hidden hostility, Stoic wisdom provides the tools to navigate these toxic behaviors. By staying grounded in your values, observing without reacting, and setting firm boundaries, you can rise above the negativity and shield yourself from malicious influences. Now, it's your turn to reflect. Have you encountered any of these signs in your own life? Drop a comment below and share your experience with the community. We learn best when we learn together. If you found value in this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on future insights that can help you master your mindset and live a life of true inner peace. Let's continue this journey of growth and empowerment.